hub has attracted some of the world's leading brands. This successful formula is being emulated in all our future TODs. PJ Central Garden City is reinvigorating Patalinjaya and establishing a new vision for urban regeneration. Comprising 6 commercial towers and connected via the LRT, it already boasts future occupancy by some of Malaysia's leading corporations. Penang Central TOD is destined to be a catalyst for further economic growth in the northern region. It is a transportation hub consisting of bus, taxi, train and ferry services integrated with commercial and residential components. Kuasa Central, strategically located near the Sultan Abdulaziz Shah Airport in Subang, is connected to 2 rail networks and 3 major highways and will serve as the CBD for the entire new Kuasa Damansara Township. Phase 1 of Cyberjaya City Centre comprises commercial blocks, an integrated lifestyle and retail arena, serviced residential complexes, and a convention centre. It is integrated with the MRT Sungai Buloh Serdang Putrajaya line, offering seamless connectivity to Putrajaya Central. MRCB's Property Development and Investment Division, MRCB Land, is a leading urban property developer with a large portfolio of successfully integrated and well-connected commercial and residential developments designed with a mixture of sophistication and style. 9 Sapute is an elegant mix of commercial and residential units located on a prime stretch of land on Jalan Klang Lama, within easy reach of KL Central CBD, Mid-Valley and Bangsa. With its dedicated elevated link bridge to the new Pantai Expressway, the project is set to transform the area into a vibrant place to live, work and play. Central Suites is the latest residential development in KL Central, a modern sanctuary with easy access to the world-class amenities and connectivity of KL Central CBD. As part of its strategy to unlock value from its investment property portfolio, MRCB acquired significant stakes in the MRCB Quill REIT and in the REIT's management company. This offers MRCBs opportunities to inject properties into the REIT in exchange for cash and units, freeing up capital for reinvestment in new projects and providing an attractive, long-term recurring income. Platinum Central and Menara Shell, both located in KL Central CBD, have already been injected into the REIT. MRCB's Engineering, Construction and Environment Division, MRCB Builders, is one of the nation's largest infrastructure construction companies, completing iconic projects like the redevelopment of the Bukit Jalil National Sports Complex, which was transformed into a vibrant venue known as KL Sports City, ahead of the 29th SEA Games in 2017. The award-winning project won numerous global accolades, including being named Stadium of the Year at the World Stadium Congress Awards in Amsterdam. MRCB Builders continues to make its mark with a number of major infrastructure development contracts under its belt. 50% joint venture company MRCB George Kent is building the 37.6-kilometer light rail transit line 3 from Bandar Utama to Klang, featuring 20 stations. The project will serve approximately 2 million users by 2024. MRCB is also constructing the MR2 Line 2 Sungai Buloh Serdang Putrajaya project, which is expected to be completed by 2021. Another commercial development MRCB Builders will construct is Kuasa Utama. The project comprises 8 office towers, a hotel, and an auditorium. MRCB Builders is the nation's largest developer of high-voltage transmission networks and substations, and has completed projects such as the 32 kilovolt transmission line from Pantai Siring to Pulau Besar Melaka, the first in the country to be constructed over the sea. MRCB's environment business is at the forefront of protecting the nation's rivers and coastlines through its flood and erosion mitigation projects and the rehabilitation of polluted rivers. MRCB's future growth will be focused on renewable energy projects such as waste-to-energy, hydro and solar. Yayasan MRCB is a philanthropic and corporate responsibility arm of MRCB. The foundation supports the development and financial needs of underprivileged children, the needy, and communities. Setting the standard. MRCB.
Alright, so now you have a bit of background about what MRCB and our business. So I want to share a little bit more than just the corporate video, something that people don't know about us. 1968. 1968 is when we were incorporated. And we were then known as Perak Carbide. So we were not in construction business. We were in mining, and then there was some change. So we've been in business more than 50 years. We changed our name to MRCB in 1981. We currently have 1,658 employees across the group. Our biggest shareholder is EPF. We listed in Bursa in 1971, so it's this year we're celebrating 50 years as a public listed company. And last but not least, TV3 we used to be a subsidiary of MRCB before we before they were under Media Prima currently. So there you go. Now you know a little bit more than other people out there about MRCB. Okay, our vision is setting the standard. And our mission is leading the field sustainably through innovation in property development, engineering, and construction. So that's what we do, property development, engineering, construction, and we have other business as well, like investment, REIT, and things like that. But our core business is property development, engineering, and construction. Our core values: accountable, customer-centric, courageous, creative, and driven. That's our core values. Our leadership team, Tan Sri Zainal is our chairman. Our current group managing director is Cik Imran. Awanti is our CFO. Kwan Jun Ho, COO, and Mr. Amarjit is our CCO. So that's our senior leadership team. Our corporate structure, it's pretty small here. Can you see? So we have four business. One is property development and investment, engineering, construction, and environment, facilities management and parking, and also infrastructure and concession. However, this business operation is discontinued, I think last year and end of last year. So we have three right now. The biggest two is our property development and engineering and construction. So out there, people know our property development investment as MRCB Lands near Berhad, and our engineering construction environment as MRCB Builders near Berhad. So one is construction, one is property development. We do also have facilities management and parking, which is Semasa Central and Semasa Parking. Our achievements so far, we had, this is just last year. We had received a handful of awards. The latest one, which was announced right after Christmas, was the Star Property Award for a few of our properties. And we won the All-Star Award as a Best Overall Champion. We also received a Corporate Governance Award. We're very, strict in our corporate governance. ARC Award, which is our annual report. Property Insight and CIDB. So, yeah, we've got a handful of awards that we received. Now, I just want to touch a little bit because I think Mamahan requested that we talk a little bit about our corporate priorities and business priorities moving forward. I just want to touch a little bit about things that I can, disclose. So our corporate priorities for the next, 2 or 3 years, we're as a group, we are focusing on driving digitalization and automation across the group, and also commitment to sustainability. So these are the two corporate priorities for us. Sustainability is key as a public listed company. There are some assessment that's done for all the public listed company by Bursa to look at how companies support the sustainability goals, the SDGs. We are embarking on a 10-year journey. We have, we've just started about 2 years ago. We've put in place a 10-year roadmap. There's some goals that we committed to. We ensure that we have a sustainable finance. We ensure that we have sustainable resourcing of our raw materials and things like that. In terms of driving digitalization and automation, we've embarked on this journey about 2 years ago as well. There are 5 major projects, which is enterprise resource planning, human resources and payroll, project collaboration platform. We migrate our database into cloud server, and then network upgrade as well. So a 50 years old, more than 50 years old of company. I mean, I would say we're not that advanced or digitally inclined. We're not the spearheading digital, and the the nature of our business is also not digital. So we are committed moving forward to embark on this digitalization and automation, because it's important in the current landscape. And I will touch a bit more on this, especially with COVID and the things that we experienced last year. I will touch a bit on this later. On the philanthropy side, we have Yayasan Mrcb. We focus on helping students, education especially, and then the underserved, the B40 communities. We supported the blind and also orang asli. So so that's our Yayasan Mrcb, incorporated I think in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, Okay. Before I move on to TOD, KL Central, is there any question that you want to ask about our corporate info? Anything that you want to find out more about us? Anything that, you know? Nope. No question?
No,
I move on. Okay. So, KL Central, Malaysia's first TOD, transport development, oriented development. I'm not sure how well you know about KL Central, but I'm going to touch a bit more on the history side. So, in 1994, the government of Malaysia wants to enhance KL public transport. So, where we are right now, where KL Central is based right now, before this it was a 72 acres Malaysian Railway marshalling yard. So it's a KTMB marshalling yard before this. So in 1994, the government said, hey, we need to be more connected. We need to enhance our public transportation. And then in 1997, concession agreement was signed with KL Central Sdn Bhd, and MRCB is led the consortium to build KL Central. The design of KL Central was designed by the late Dr. Kishore Kurokawa. He's the great architect, designer, and you know, architect, and he did KLIA as well. So he designed KLIA as well. And this is the Integrated Rail Transportation Center, the Malaysia's largest one, the first. We've won a lot of awards as well. Of you know the central, and at present, as in 2019, the average commuters that pass through Station Central every day was 200,000 a day. So that's how many people are, you know, passing through in KL Central station. So that's, you know, about 73 million commuters annually, and it grows. We expected that it grows further, but COVID, you know, and MCO and all that. So during MCO, it was so funny that the Station Central was dark and nobody there. It's like a ghost town. We've got the only people that came to KL Central were our APs, our auxiliary police that stationed there. So they are working during MCO. They were our frontliners. And we've also gotten, you know, a few requests from the media to do a coverage at KL Central. So when I asked the media, I said, hey, why do you want to go and, you know, do a coverage at KL Central? There's nobody there. Oh, we need to check whether people are actually going out or not, or they stay at home. So we need to report this. So okay, so yeah, there's nothing. There's so quiet. It's like a ghost town. All right. So here's some photos from KL Central then, 1997. Existing KTM yard. We have existing commuter track. Existing go down sheds, KTM yard over here, Lake Garden. This is how it looks then. This is in 1999 during the construction. (2004). So we started operation at KL Central in April 2001. Yeah, 2001. So this is the picture from 2004. This year we're celebrating 20 years. KL Central is celebrating 20 years. So that's 20 years ago. 2013, you can see the difference. Not many high buildings, many high buildings. This is 2016, 2017, more high buildings. Okay, so today there are 6 railway stations, systems linked to Station Central KL Central. The latest addition is MRT. We started off with ERL, KTM commuter, intercity, KL monorail, and then LRT, and then ERL, and then the latest one is MRT. Apart from the rail, we also have other transportation, such as the buses to KLIA, rapid buses, Go KL, hop on and hop off buses, taxis. So it's really a transportation hub. From the hub, it has a pedestrian connectivity to the other parts of KL Central. So this station is really a transportation hub, and around it, I think the community at daytime, during daytime at KL Central, on a daily basis, we are close to 11,000 people during the day. So that's how many people working in KL Central or around Station Central. So the first milestone, we did the connectivity and convenience, because from KL Central then you can go around KL, you can take LRT, can go to PJ, you can go to Klang using KTM, you can go to KLIA via ERL, or Seremban, the farthest, I think, or even the interstate KTM as well. And then we obtained the MSC Cyber Center status for the entire KL Central. And that's where we get most of the companies interested to build buildings over here or to base in KL Central. One because of connectivity, and the other one is because of the MSC status, Cyber Center status as well. And then on milestone 3, we also committed to the green building. So there's greener environment within the KL Central, and then the buildings are built via towards greener environment with BCA Green Mark LEEDs. I think that it's an index for the building. So the buildings that was built by us, we have that index. We follow that index. So some of the buildings that we built over here are Shell, Lee Meridian, Ascot, if I'm not mistaken, St. Regis. So those buildings are built according to the Malaysia's Green Building Index. So greatest proven achievement for TOD, it revitalizes all communities and and development. So it's not just the hub itself. While the KL Central, it's only 72 acres, but the spillover impact is bigger than that. It's more than 100, almost 250 acres surrounding land. So like our surrounding KL Central, like Seputeh, Brickfields, are also feel the development of KL Central. It's seamless. It's continuous pedestrian connections. It's located within an easy walk. It boosts investment for companies to come into Malaysia as well, because now that they see Malaysia has connectivity and convenience, then it attracts investment to Malaysia. So here are some of the companies that's based in KL Central. I've got Facebook, PwC, big names, telecommunications. We've got government agencies as well in KL Central. Local corporations, big conglomerates, hotels, airlines, banks as well. Okay, so I've covered all TOD's development. Is there any questions that you want to ask about KL Central?
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
I'm Shamini here. Actually, I was quite interested to know regarding the index, right? You were talking about that whenever MRCB starts a construction, you all follow the index and all that. But TOD is something which is actually giving all Malaysian a very high rate of convenience actually. Is there for example, survey or research done to actually get the a little bit of hints of what our Malaysian actually are looking for towards this kind of situation? Or is the design basically sticking to the designer as well as the concept and the index only?
Okay, so before we start any development of TODs what examples that I've shown you is just KL Central, but in Malaysia, after KL Central, we have Penang Central, we have PJ Central, and also coming up, we are developing Kuasa Central. So basically, before we develop any land for making it a TOD, we will do a feasible study first about the community at that area. So TOD, when you develop something like this, we've got to work with the land office, the state government in terms of their planning, township planning as well, because we don't own the land. We built the TOD concept or development on a land that's owned by the state. So very much feasibility study and understanding the surrounding, and also it must be aligned to the landowners' planning, basically. So recently we've got a visit. Right after MCO, before the CMCO, we've got a visit from Malacca state. And they are interested to do something like this as well in Malacca, because if you go to Malacca, or if there's anyone from Malacca, you know that Malacca has developed so rapidly that there's jam everywhere, even on especially on Saturday and Sunday, especially on the weekends, because everybody is going out and all that. So they were thinking, the state government were thinking of developing a TODs in Malacca to have that convenience and connectivity within Malacca, and connectivity to KL as well. So So it's still in discussion. So that's how it's done. Before we do anything, we have to do a feasibility study.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Noreen.
Thank you.
Noreen, I just wanted to check with you regarding the airport city, or rather city airport. So you're able to check in and take the train to KL and go seamlessly. Were there any challenges when you mooted the idea of having that airport in the city?
Well, the idea is to give convenience to the people, so they don't need to carry all their bags straight away to the airport. They can just check in here, and the bags will be carried for them to the airport. So that was the idea when we started. In terms of the challenges, really, it's not my place to answer, because the operation of that is managed by ERL, Malaysia Airlines, or AirAsia. So for MRCB, we manage the station central. So it's a concession base. So there's 4 parties operated in station central. So it's KTMB, LRT, ERL, and also MRT. Yeah, and we only manage the station central. So operational of each of the rail services is managed by the respective rail operator.
Okay, thank you. I was just wondering why not many airlines have come to have their check-in counters there, so that more people can enjoy the conveniences.
Yeah, I believe we want to keep it to Malaysian Airlines.
All right. Thank you very much. Since it's a national carrier.
Yeah, Malaysian Airlines and AirAsia. As a Malaysian carrier. All right. Any more questions on TODs? Or I'm asking my team if there's anything that you want to add on.
With Noreen, at the end of our session, we put together like a short time for people to ask questions. So maybe some people might want to ask you more at the end, I suppose.
All right. Okay. So I move on to the next topic that I want to dive into is the. Hold on. I think I've got the wrong. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, I want to go down to this, engaging employees at a distance. Our learnings from the MCO in March. So just to give you a bit of understanding before we go into the best practices. For us, MRCB have never had any work from home policy. So we've never worked from home. We're 9 to 6 every day. We're not flexible organization. We're very rigid. So our challenges was, as soon as MCO was announced, our biggest challenges is to implement it and put a policy so that people and track our employees whether they are working at home or just doing nothing. So while there's an MCO, we must ensure that our work is continues. So that was our biggest challenge. Digitalization wasn't across the board before the MCO. So when the MCO was imposed in March, there were certain internal processes that was translated or quickly changed into a digital process. So basically, on a positive side, MCO really accelerate our digital transformation journey, right? And then from the employee side as well, some of them are very technical people. They know their work very well, but they're not digital savvy. So if you're asked them to meet like this virtually, it's a challenge for some of them. So that was our biggest challenge when the MCO hit us. And the biggest challenge personally for me, I joined this organization 2 weeks before MCO. So that's the biggest challenge for me as well. Getting into a new organization, don't really understand the culture and things like that. So anyway, I've got a good team that helped me go through all those challenges. So what did we do first? Hold on. So the first thing that we did was we worked with the IT. Microsoft Teams was never used in this organization. So we had to do Microsoft Teams training, compulsory for all staff, getting them to be familiar with the platforms, telling them how to use it, really a virtual transition for them. So we've got 1,600 employees. So all 1,600 employees gone through the training in the first week of MCO to ensure that we can keep our business running and our operations continues. And then in November we had a men's health talk as well on virtually as well. So that was the first thing that we do to ensure that we keep on engaging our staff. We know business can continue. We can talk to them. Everybody, we can have meetings and things like that. So we must ensure that everybody transition into a digital platform. Second thing is to engage them via consistent, continuous, daily, positive communications. So again, before this, internal communication was really to communicate changes, like changes in process, changes in, it's like an internal memo, it's like a information sharing only. If there's a new head of department joins, then there will be internal comms. But during the MCO, we've introduced Mrcb Communique. It's EDM. We did this every other day or every day during the MCO. Keep on sharing information about the new normal, working at home, sharing them with them videos, advisory on stay at home, don't go out, health advisory. We share with them information from the government. So these are done on a daily or almost daily during the 3 months that we are at home. So that's how we engage with our staff as well, making sure that they know what's the update on the organization as well. Then we have a newsletter which we produce every quarter. The newsletter, talking about trying to change a mindset. So the first one was talking about digital transformation. This was issued in May issue, and then we had one in September talking about the future, how the current challenges shape our future. So this is more long articles or editorials that we share with the staff to, in a way, influence mind-changing, change mindset of the staff. So this is the channel, or this is the channel platform that we use. HR also during the MCO introduced live chatbot, because again, this is something new. They've never had this. We have a Agate HR platform where you apply for your leave, apply for check your apply for claims and all that. But we said that we wanted a more a quick channel for people to interact with HR for their personal needs, so without coming to the office. So this is a channel they can chat live with our HR personnel. Of course, our HR personnel is not in the office, they are at home, but they can chat live with the HR personnel. We also created a WhatsApp group for all employees in here. So this is to share information, because some of our employees doesn't have email. So the EDMs that we share on daily basis, we share it on WhatsApp as well. So this is another channel. Our employees that are working on the site, the construction site, or the APs, the auxiliary police, they don't have an email. So this is the channel to reach out to them. Next is our welfare. So we during the MCO, we find that our staff, there are either while everybody have their own challenges at home. Some say that they cannot work because their kids are at home and they have to take care of the kids, take care of the parents and all that. But there are two particularly I would say concerned us are when they are impacted financially and as well as mental health. So we conducted, or we organized a fundraising campaign internally. So we help each other. We raised, I think, at the end of the fundraising, we raised about 80,000, if I'm not mistaken, 80,000 ringgit. And then this money that been collected, we shared it with the B40 group, B40 employees that have been impacted by COVID. So they have to fill in a form and things like that. So that's one. And then for the mental health during the COVID, other than telling them how to detect the early symptoms of mental health and things like that, we also opened up a channel counseling channel for them to reach out to the HR counselors. Yeah, so that's on employee welfare. And I would end here. It's right on the dot, 7:30. Just as a summary, being transparent, consistent. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ms. Nurin. That perfectly timed presentation. So, yeah. Thanks again. Thanks so much for that extremely informative presentation. I'm sure a lot of us here learned a lot of new things today. So I think thank you also to bring our minds to important concepts like ensuring sustainable development practices, the pursuit of urbanization, as it was so vehemently put forth in the practices of MRCB. And so since our timing is great, so we will take a short break now, a half an hour break. We will recommence at 8 p.m. We will have a short Q&A session. So I think we'll be having a lot more questions and discussion at 8 p.m. So thank you, and yeah, we'll see everybody again in half an hour's time.
All right.
Thank you.
See you again. Thank you.
Also, if you're shy to speak, you can always chat put your questions in the chat box. So I'll open that up to everybody. If anybody wants to start off first. Well, since I have the floor, just to give it a time for other people to think of the question. So right, so Ms. Nurin, just going back to the second part of your presentation, right? So KL Central does an amazing job, right? Serving as the transportation hub. It's got amazing connectivity because you've got this, got mixed residential and commercial development projects within the vicinity, right? But this is obviously unfortunately not the case elsewhere around other public transportation stations. So I know this is an issue that obviously falls under the purview of city planners, right? But I was wondering, within that transit-oriented development framework, right? Are there any specific plans or strategies, right, that MRCB thinks can be implemented to deal with our first and last mile connectivity issue, right? That seem to plague our public transportation system and kind of one of the leading causes of people actually not using public transportation. Do you have any thoughts or suggestions or ideas on how something that can be looked at?
You're saying connectivity within the urban area or interstate or?
No, I'm talking about the first and last mile connectivity. The ability, that from actually from the house to the bus stop or to the bus station, right? Getting that last bit that's always that eluding factor there for people that use public transportation.
Yeah. So again, when you talk about TODs, right? We are developing the hub. So without the railway operators doing the rail stations, the hub won't. We will not have TOD. All right. So MRCB does not. There's a lot of players in making sure that people take transportation. Public transportation. We are here just to. There's the government authorities that handles that. There's the rail operators that does that as well. So for our part, which is the hub, we have all those parking facilities and all that, but people don't come to the hub and park their car. they come from elsewhere and to the hub and then connect to another, railway lines. So those issues like parking at the stations, I know it's a huge issue that we are facing right now. The problem in there, because we are also working with LRT3 lines, right? The issues there are when we talk about connectivity, you want to put the facilities at where we have the communities, high density communities, because we want to give convenience to them. It's no point of doing a station at somewhere outskirts where there's no housing area and all that. So the challenge there is we don't have big enough space to provide parking space. So that is the biggest challenge, I guess, for everybody. For if you look at a macro level, we don't have big enough space for that. So I guess as consumer, we need to find ways, now that we have Grab, thanks to Grab, that we can take Grab from our house to the station. And I believe the rail operators as well, they took their own initiative. They have shutters. MRT have shutters as well from station to areas and things like that. So if you ask me, is there a framework? I don't think there's a real framework to it, because it's very case by case basis, and depends on the areas. And again, there's a lot of challenges in terms of the space when you talk about parking spaces. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes. Thank you. So we have one question from Dominic in our chat. So I'm just going to read this out. He asks, does your organization have any plans for unexpected crises such as the COVID-19 issue? I think like we covered just now. But then, so do you think your organization is working effectively and efficiently during this COVID-19 period? And what are the major challenges that your organization is facing now in terms of work efficiency and commitment?
Okay. Our core business, so like I mentioned just now, our core business is construction, right? So during the MCO, our biggest challenge was we can't do construction at all. So our construction were put on hold. We can't move, we can't go out. We can't even, basically our business was put at a pause. So the only function that's working is the HQ employees. So in terms of processing document, making sure the contracts are, done, drafted, making sure that payments are made, HR, communications, finance, those are working. But our core business is building, construction. So when that function doesn't work, and how we get our revenues are based on percentage of completion. So we get paid based on percentage of completion. So when we can't do work, the percentage of completion will be delayed, and we will get our payment. Our payment will be delayed as well. So at an organizational level, at a group, our biggest, that impacted our cash flow as well. So thank God the MCO is only for 3 months, more or less, or 4 months, was it? So we get back to work during the CMCO. We can start working. The construction can start operating again. So that doesn't really impacted that much, we can still survive. Otherwise, if it prolonged more than 6 months or a year, I don't know whether we're still going to be here or not. So, because that was really impacted us. That's one. Your question about whether people are working effectively and efficiently. Like I said before, there's a bit of mindset change that we need to do during the first few weeks of MCO. But after that, everybody was getting into the rhythm. Even the bosses, even the head of department, they know now how to engage with the staff, monitor their work, have a weekly, daily check-ins with the team, able to use virtual platforms to conduct, meetings and things like that. So, yeah, I guess we were working efficiently and effectively in that sense for the back office.
Right. So as a follow-up question to that, so you did say like for the first 3 months when there was a problem with cash flow, right? So did that affect the organizational structure or the reputation in any way? Is there changes that we made?
It didn't affect our organizational structure. Reputation, in a way, yes, but it's understandable because all the construction companies had to stop their work. So what we face is also faced by other, construction companies as well. But we took measures internally as well. So certain levels, mid-management and above, we had to take pay cuts. We had to take allowance cuts and things like that. So we manage our cash flow in that sense. For 6 months, I think. We did change in terms of the resources, our employees' resources, because we changed the policy now that for those working in the construction, they are working based on project, right? So before this, they were project director, and once the project finishes, they move to another project. But what we learn is that we cannot sustain them in that sense. We have to reorganize the structure. Instead of offering them that kind of contract, we offered them a contract that tagged to that particular project only. So once the project is completed and handover, then if there are ongoing projects, then they can apply for another project. So it's purely contract basis rather than a permanent project director, project consultant and things like that. So yeah.
Proper adaptation strategy.
Yeah.
Right. So before I may ask for other questions, I just want to remind participants, just put yourself on mute. If you're not speaking, I can hear what I can assume to be dinner sounds in the background. Right. So is there any other questions? Anybody else? Any questions for Ms. Noreen and her team?
Hi, Ms. Noreen. Rashid here. I would like to ask, throughout this period of MCO, CMCO, has MRCB encountered any COVID cases in the organization, and how corporate communication of MRCB overcome the matter of COVID cases in MRCB?
Touch wood. So far, we've got no COVID cases for our employees in MRCB. At the start of when we came back from MCO, we were very diligent. We had a business continuity plan drafted. We ensure that we change our policy, work from home and also work from office. Right now we're doing a rotational, 50% at home, 50% at work. We put in place SOPs, and we check if, so when we enter the office, we've got to register and we've got the stickers for daily basis to check our temperature, and if we are cleared, we got the stickers, then only you are cleared to get into the office. We have to sanitize our hand. We get our office sanitized every day. We make it compulsory for employees to wear face masks whenever we had meetings. Social distancing is very important, and right now meetings are limited to only 4 packs physically. If it's more than 4 packs, then we'll go on virtual meetings. So those are the measures that we put in place during COVID. We did have a case at our construction site, though, at Sepute. So that was not our employees. They were foreign workers and hired by our subcontractor. So it's not directly our employees. As soon as we know that, we shut down the construction site for 2 weeks. And then we work with the KKM and authorities to do swab test for all 200 plus foreign workers and quarantine them for 2 weeks. So we put them into a quarantine hostel. They unable to go out, so we contain. So out of that number, I think out of 200, I think about 70 was tested positive, and now we're back to normal. At the construction site as well, we have a certain SOPs that they have to go through. Construction workers right now, we used to do like 1 supervisor to 40 packs, 40 foreign workers, if I'm not mistaken. So right now it's reduced to one supervisor to 10, and a certain parameter of a square foot can only be a small number of people working at that area. So social distancing is also observed at construction site. So we were very, very safety is really a serious matter for us.
Thank you. Maintaining social distancing anywhere is a challenge, but maintaining social distancing on a construction site, I can only imagine the different level of.
It's a different level of challenge. So for the project directors, it's a challenging. They have to adapt to the new way of working now. The challenge because it changes the work plan that they had in mind. It changes the work plan is one. It changes the flow of working. It changes the duration of completion as well, because now that a certain number of people can only work at a certain area, then it delays. It have a impact on the timeline as well.
All right. Thanks, Rashid, for your question.
Sorry. For Ms. Noreen, I want to ask: is there any? Have you created an operational room to make these decisions, or it only was a simple meetings to make these decisions about the COVID-19 crisis?
We at the early stage of COVID. In Malaysia, we had a war. Well, we call it a war room. So we had a war room where we have a list of number of people, which area. We follow the news very, very close. We it's not only about our staff, but we need to also know where the cases are in Malaysia, because then we can give this information to the staff and say that, hey, if you are living in this area, your area is considered red zones, and what you need to do. Questions like people are asking, hey, there's someone in my building. He lives in an apartment, and his neighbor get a positive COVID. So what do I do? Things like that. My area is considered as red zone. Do I come to work? Questions like that keeps on coming. So we have to address those questions from the staff as well. Of course, their safety and their well-being is our priority. So we will give advice case to case basis. There were also questions about my friend was with me and he got he was tested positive. What should I do and things like that. So we had a few alarming situation where we need to send our staff for COVID tests, but thank God we've never had any close encounter. I mean, they're not positive. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Alhamdulillah, for that you are safe, all your stuff. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Saif. We have another question from Lu Xiao Xiao. She's asking if MRCB has its own feedback system or a specific feedback strategy, especially for staff who are working at home during the COVID-19 period.
Okay, so we don't have a specific feedback strategies. Like I mentioned earlier, we do have a chat on HR. So it's a direct HR-related well-being, employees' well-being and things like that are being managed by HR. So it's directly to HR. But also we encourage all our head of division to keep in touch with the staff. So whatever issues, whatever difficulties, whatever challenges that the staff had faced at home, they have to discuss with their head of division. And the head of division will take ownership and empowered to take a certain degree of decision towards the staff with, of course, advice from HR or any other experts within the organization. If it's related to legal, then we have legal team support. If it's related to finance, then we have finance staff to support them.
Hello. Sorry.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Joe.
Can I ask about? You said you are working at home now. Do you have some working at home rules? For example, you must at your laptop from which time to which time, and how many hours do you work every day? And yes, and how about the internet connection? What's about these rules about working at home? Okay, thanks.
Thank you. All right, so we don't have any rules. We don't set any rules. We don't set hours, but employees are expected to work. We trust the employees to do that, and it's also the head of divisions or departments' responsibility to track their work. In my particular department, I don't track by hours. I track via deliverables. So I ensure that if you deliver, I don't care you work overnight or you work in 1 hour or 2 hours, 3 hours, as long as you deliver your work. So that's the most important thing. In terms of connectivity, yes, we do have our IT support. we have some employees who doesn't have any, couldn't get a good connection at home. So our IT will go and try and support them with the device connectivity. If we have any problems with our laptops at home, our IT will also go to your house and fix it if it needs to be done physically. Otherwise, they can do it remotely. Yeah, so we don't have any specific rules or set of rules like, you have to lock in at 9 and 6. Most of us during the total lockdown, I think most of us in my team, we work like more than, I think, close to 13 hours every day. So that also, after a few weeks, we had realized that, and then I said, we have to, and then we start to tell everybody to take a balance, to ensure that you have a balance at home, because it's not conducive for you to work long hours, like 13 hours, because you're at home and you've got, if you don't have any, disruption and all that, you'll be glued to your seat more than 13 hours. That's not good. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thanks now. So we have another question from Shamini, and so I'm just going to read her question here. So she said, creating and maintaining a robust corporate reputation has always been daunting. New digital era, managing an organization's corporate communication and keeping track of social media and virtual information on virality, etc., can be challenging. So how does MRCB cope with these issues and keeping up with big data concepts? Very difficult.
I'm going to call in my social media experts. I hope he's in. Sean? Oh, can someone let Sean into the call?
Manmohan, can you help? Manmohan, please.
Okay, we're gonna wait for Sean to come in. Why don't we answer Lisa first?
No, I don't see his request. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, while waiting for Sean, so moving to put on hold Shamini's question first. So Lisa's question: what are the usual tasks that are handled by the corporate communications team in a construction company?
Okay. Corporate communications in any organization is the same function. Whether you're working on in a construction company or financial organization, or government agencies or whatnot. So basically, the functions handled by corporate comms involves events, PR, social media, website development, brand, press releases, corporate videos, branding. We don't do it. In my department, we don't handle, the only thing that we don't handle are marketing. So we do have a marketing and sales division separately from corporate communications. Some other organization may have marketing and corporate communication combined. But at MRCB, we're only doing, we're not doing marketing and sales. So internal comms is part of us, employee engagement, CSR. What else?
What about visitor relations?
Sorry?
What about visitor relations?
Investor relation is handled by a different department as well. It's not part of corporate comms.
All right. Yeah, Alia has a question. She is curious how MRCB's
CSR initiatives for coping during the COVID period? The CSR.
Okay. So at the start of 2020, we had a different plan for our CSR. So every year, early of the year, we put a certain budget, and this is what we want to give. A program that we want to run for the whole year. So in March, when MCO happens, we put on hold on that plan, and then we divert that into a COVID release efforts. I'm not sure if you have read in the news. During the MCO, we had, I think, about 40 or 50 APs, auxiliary police, that works during MCO. So their role is only to manage Station Central. We keep them working because if they don't work, then they don't have salaries. So we ask them to still come to work. Although Station Central is, no people literally. So then one of the APs we muted the idea of, building something and helping the other frontliners, the core frontliners, the police and all that. So we created our own. The APs created the face shield internally. So they did it, the face shield. So, and then another idea muted doing face mask, and then sanitization, because they have the skills. So they sanitized KL Central on daily basis. So we have the equipment, we have the skills. So these are the resources that we have. So we have the people who can do face masks. We have the people who can do face shield, and people who can do sanitizing, building. House and building. So what we did was they themselves did. I think we delivered about close to 3,000 face shield, close to 2,000 face mask, and sanitize about more than 1,000 square foot of areas. So these are our CSR initiatives during the MCO. So we hand over to the police, to the bomber, to the hospitals, the PPEs, the PPE suits, and all is done in-house. So in total, I think about apart from that, we also contributed about 500,000 ringgit to GDRN to purchase what do you call that? Ventilator. Yeah. So in the end, I think we collectively we contributed about 1.3 million at the end of I think somewhere in June. So those CSR where we had planned earlier changed because of COVID.
Right. Thank you very much. Even though it was short-term planned initiatives, but they were very impressive and timely, effective initiatives from MRCB's behalf. So congratulations to your staff for pulling off such an impressive CSR initiative. Right. So any other questions? Who is it? Was it Sean? Is it?
Sean, yes. Sean is in. So we're back to Shamani question.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the benefit of Sean, I guess Sean wasn't in the room just now, right? So he probably wouldn't have heard the question. So
I'm going to repeat the question for Sean's benefit. So we have a question from Shamini Sean, and the question is, creating and maintaining a robust corporate reputation has always been daunting. The new digital era, managing an organization's corporate communication and keeping track of the social media and virtual information on virality and things such as that can be challenging. And so the question is, how does MRCB cope with these issues and keep up with these big data concepts?
Hi, Shamini, is it? Right. That's a very interesting question. I think for us at MRCB, I think we get all sort of information coming through, mainly through our social channels. Not just for MRCB Group, but through Station Central, Penang Central, all those platforms. So, in terms of using this data, we mainly use we focus more on sentiment tracking. That'll be the main one. This is mainly to know what's happening, what are people talking about, trying to prevent anything before it goes viral to the public. So we are anticipating pre-events that might take place. It's pretty crucial, especially for handling big TODs like Station. That's pretty much it in terms of how we handle big data. In terms of communication-wise, we strongly look at our audience as the main key thing in developing any form of communication. So, I'm not sure on your concept of virality. Could you maybe define further, as in on what do you mean by that?
Like for example, right, when it comes to social media, everything moves in a very fast. So like for example, if we were to say that MRCB maybe breach a particular contract, things like that, which might not be true, or true. So before MRCB goes with the press statement, it's already viral everywhere on the social platform and etc. So how do MRCB actually tackle this kind of fast-moving information at this moment compared to the previous corporate communication strategies? Definitely, you all have moved towards the 21st century information, patching up things, and everything is going to be totally different compared to before, right?
Uh-huh. So, mainly, the key thing that we use is social listening tools. That is the main one that we are constantly looking at. So if let's say there's something were to happen, we are always aware 24/7, even weekends, night. We have our tools on our phones. I mean, we get alerts as and when something happens or someone posts or there's something that could trigger. We also work with teams that provide us this info as soon as it happens. And let's say if it does happen, some of the time it's on case by case, seeing how severe or how the tiering of the event, as in, is it a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 kind of situation. But the number one thing is to reduce the impact that it's going to create. We try to take it offline as much as possible. We have a dedicated team, a stakeholder management team that handles cases like this or incidents like this as soon as it happens, just to address it before it goes even more viral that we can't come back from. So at this point, we are always keeping tab at all our communications and you know what's going on. It's pretty essential, especially when you have a couple of TODs with us.
Okay, just to add on that, there are a few things in that question. This is a very interesting question. Thank you, Shamani. So one is how, in terms of how to maintain your corporate reputation on digital platform, right? The first thing is for MRCB, we have multiple Facebook accounts. So for MRCB Group, we have a Facebook account for MRCB Land. We have a Facebook account for News Central. We have a Facebook account for Penang Central. So these multiple Facebook accounts serve different types of communities or different types of stakeholders, different types of target audience. Number one is to make sure that all the platforms are communicating the same thing. We are aligned. We have the same tone and manner, and even if it's a slightly different, because we need to relate to our audience. So what we did was we created, I think in March this year, we created a council. We call it social media council. So we make sure that all those people who are responsible for each of those platforms sits together, knows what the other platform are posting. So like corporate com handles the group platform. So whenever we post something, we share it with the rest of the teams in the council, and they know that this is posted, and if it's relevant for them, then they will then post the same thing on their platform as well, and it works vice versa. That's one. Same goes to if there's any comments, negative comments or whatever was posted up on their platform, they will then give a nudge to all of us on we created a WhatsApp group for communication, easy communication. So, and we support each other. So if there's something happens, someone comments badly at News Central, then we then support them and say, hey, you can answer them this way, you can answer them this way, or we need to do a community management bit, right? And it's monitoring. So we do have a third-party social media monitoring partner that scan the social media platform on a daily basis with a certain keywords that's given by us. So if there's any keywords that comes up, and like Sean was mentioned, it's based on sentiment. So if the sentiment of the post is negative, then it will be a red flag. And we also have a tier of red flag, whether it's a tier 1, it's really a big issue, and then or it's a tier 2, and we address it on case by case basis. So that's monitoring. And so basically that. I hope we answered your question, Shamini.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Nori and Mr. Sean. Yeah, answered quite well actually.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that the question, Shamini. 15 or 16 years ago, when Facebook first came on the scene, people told us that Facebook was going to basically take our professional life like this. Nobody would have believed it, but I'm sure Sean and your team have their hands full keeping up, right, with this platform at this point in time. Right. So another question, right, we have from Isni Zawati. Sorry, I call her by nickname. I can't pronounce the real name anymore. So Isni Zawati says that she finds it interesting to learn about internal communications of companies in terms of the type of strategies that a company practices in deciding to either adopt or adapt strategies from other companies, right, in order to ensure that their employees are happy and loyal. And so she's asking if it's possible for you to share how MRCB puts into practice ways to maintain a healthy working environment.
Okay, Okay, so our employee engagement framework, we measured based on. Okay, this is an entire webinar on employee engagement, but I'm going to touch just a little bit. So, employee engagement for us, our framework or how we measure is based on say, stay, and strive. So we want our employees to say good things, stay with us, and strive beyond. Do the extra miles, basically. So when our employee engagement survey comes with a high number of say, stay, strive, then we know that our employees are engaged. So how do we keep, how do we keep our employees loyal? That is not something that that is not our objective, actually. As an organization, we don't want somebody to be loyal just because they want to stay here, get their paycheck every month and things like that. So for us, it's a two-way relationship between an employee and the employer. So loyal is not, I guess, making employees happy and loyal. It's not what we aim for, right? So what we want employees to come here, learn new things, and grow with the organization. And if so, their values are increase and other organization finds that this talent from MRCB, then by all means grow elsewhere. So we took that pride because they are a product of MRCB. If you know what I meant. So if they're here and they get headhunted elsewhere and they grow to a next level elsewhere, then it shows that, hey, MRCB is a good training ground, it's a good organization, and other organization values talent from MRCB. So that, in a way, is a good brand reputation for MRCB. So, making employees happy and loyal to the company is not our priority, but making healthy working environment. We do have policies in place for engagement and things like that. So we have outside of work, we have KKRM club, kebajikan dan rekreasi MRCB. We also have Khairat at MRCB. So these are the additional curriculum, I say, or social activities that we run for the organization as well. We had, during COVID, we had a few webinars like this. One on men's health. We did recently during the holiday season, we had a competition on mobile games. Something that I didn't expect, because working professionals, I don't expect that people have this hobby of I know my son does play mobile games, but I'm not sure working professionals have that interest. So it's interesting, and we've got quite a number of people join that competition as well. So we, as much as we can, I believe this is the only year. 2020 was the only year where our activities were quite limited. But previous years, we were active in having all those extra curriculum, extra activities outside of work. We had Durian Fest, CSR, volunteerism as well. So those kind of activities are our, we try as much as we can to organize for the staff.
Right, thank you. Durian Fest is by far the best thing that I've heard so far. I got to say, it is a very, very interesting and a refreshing approach, I must say, to your HR and talent management approaches, which are you encourage your staff to spread their wings, so to say, because you always only hear organizations talk about staff retention policies and how to keep them there as long as they can. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. Thanks for the question, Isti Zawati. Right, so next question. Do we have more questions for Ms. Noreen and her team? We have approximately 10 minutes left before we can keep Ms. Noreen no longer. Go back. So anybody, any other questions? Anything else? No?
If you don't have any question, I just want to invite you to like our LinkedIn page and FB and also Instagram. If you haven't already.
All right, definitely will do. I think you can see, probably at least about 20 new likes tonight from us. Right, so
okay. I do have a request. If there's any more, is there any more questions? You can find MRCB at LinkedIn, MRCB group on Facebook, and MRCB group on Instagram. Do follow us. Okay, so I do have one request before we go. I just want to take a photo of us. So make sure that you look nice and pretty and
the plus point of the Zoom meetings, they don't have to cover your stomach.
Yeah, I'm sure down there is not what we expect you, the full suit and probably wearing shorts.
I have pants on.
Yeah, see, I guess it right. Okay. Somebody talking? Is there any question? No?
No, I think, are we ready for a group photo session?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sean, can you screenshot as well? Okay, hands up. Okay. All right. So if there's any more that you request, any more questions, do reach out to me. If you want my email, it's noreensabrina@mrcb.com. If you are doing any research or you need any survey filled up, do send to me and I'll get my team to help you with that. Good luck, all the best in completing your master's degree. I've done my one myself, so it's an interesting journey. You've learned a lot more than what you learn in degree, so all the best.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Noreen. So before we end our session today, I'd like to just once again invite our program advisor, Professor Dr. Zul Hamdi Abdullah, to conclude our session for today. So, Dr. Zul.
Okay, thank you very much, Dayaran. Okay, I think thank you very much to the Miss Noreen Sabrina and the team. for the insightful talk and presentation on this TOD. I think we learned more than TOD actually today. Okay, this is really I think inspiring us. I'm sure that we learn a lot from this webinar. We also have the diversity and international student here from several countries, from China, from Saudi Arabia, from Bangladesh. It's quite interesting session. Okay, it's like a global classroom now, and there is increasing numbers of the international student in UPM as well. I think, and we hope that we can do more collaborative events or long-term project with the MRCB. I hope in the future, because UPM is one of the research university. We have also the research grant, and we're also hoping that to get the research grant from the industry if possible. And I really wish that in the MRCB will be have a more success in the future. And thank you again for the support and to make this event. I think that's success. Thank you very much again. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Zul.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Zamri. So
thank you very much.
Once again, just say thank you again. Thank you so much, Ms. Norin, to you and your team at MRCB for this really delightful and informative session we had today. We definitely learned a lot, and I think I can safely speak on behalf of everyone to say that we really did enjoy ourselves today in this session. So just want to say thank you again to also Dr. Zul Hamri for his guidance, and to the organizing committee for all the work that they put in to put together this event. So not to keep you any longer, take care, stay safe, and till we meet again. Goodbye and good night, everyone.
Good night, stay safe, bye.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye. Take care, be safe.
Thank you.